So we finally have an important update in the Miller v. Becerra case, also known as the California assault weapons ban case. So let's talk about this. But real quick before we jump into this video, if you think that California's assault weapons ban is completely unconstitutional, violates the Second Amendment, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. Also, I want to give a big shout out to one of the main sponsors of the channel, and that is Franklin Armory. Franklin Armory has shown me and the channel a lot of support, as well as they show California gun owners a lot of support. They have 3 California compliant AR pistols out on the market, as well as they were trying to develop the Franklin Armory Title I, which was blocked by the state of California. But they do a lot of things for gun owners, and so Franklin Armory is just an amazing company. So go over to their website, show them support, go over to their social media accounts and show them a lot of support, and thank you Franklin Armory for sponsoring the channel. So just for a quick rundown, if you're not familiar at all with Miller v. Becerra or what at all this case involves, what are the implications of this case, this has to do with a challenge to California's assault weapons ban language here in the state of California. Now I'm throwing up air quotes because California defines specific firearms as assault weapons. That is not my terminology. I'm just using the legal definition that California uses. So this case involves a challenge to that specific language here in the state of California, and that involves Penal Code 30515, various sections of that penal code, and that penal code defines different firearms in different configurations as assault weapons. So this case is specifically challenging that and trying to find it unconstitutional and a violation of the Second Amendment. And this case is pending in the Southern District before the Honorable Roger T. Benitez, or Saint Benitez as we call him, because he has given us multiple favorable Second Amendment cases recently in the Duncan v. Becerra case, which deals with the magazine ban, as well as Rody v. Becerra, which dealt with the ammunition restrictions here in the state of California. So he's already given us 2 favorable Second Amendment rulings, and we are anticipating that he will do the same in Miller v. Becerra. Miller v. Becerra was set for hearing multiple times. As early as last December, it was set, then got moved to January, then got moved to February, then as recently got pushed back to March 19th, and then all the virus breakout and uproar happened and the courts were shut down. So it got pushed back indefinitely, and essentially the hearing was taken off calendar, and we were waiting for something to develop with this case and for a new hearing date to be set. Last week, we got a filing of a notice of a new case authority by the individuals that are essentially fighting for our rights here in the state of California. They put forward new case authority. That was the Duncan v. Becerra case, the 3-judge panel in Duncan v. Becerra. And so we knew that there was going to be some sort of movement in this case. And so as of today, September 22nd, 2020, we got a new update in the Miller v. Becerra case. And that update is that tomorrow, September 23rd, 2020 at 10:30 a.m., essentially there will be a status conference hearing between the plaintiffs and defendants and Judge Benitez. Now there's been a lot of people sending me DMs, a lot of people sending me links, send me other videos, Reddit posts, stuff like that, private DMs saying, are you aware that Judge Benitez is hearing the Miller v. Becerra case tomorrow? And what I want to make abundantly clear in this video is that Judge Benitez is not hearing the Miller v. Becerra case tomorrow. What is happening tomorrow is a status hearing, or it's a conference, and essentially it's similar to what we have here in the state courts with the case management conferences. So essentially what this is all the parties are going to get together, they're going to sit on the phone through a teleconference with Judge Benitez, and then they're going to look at their calendars, and they're going to set a new hearing date for the Miller v. Becerra case, because right now, the Miller v. Becerra case was pushed back indefinitely. There was no hearing date on the calendar, and so now they're going to go in and actually set a hearing date and put it on everybody's calendar, and it's going to be calendared for Judge Roger T. Benitez to hear this case. So this case is not being heard tomorrow. I know there was people saying, well, do I need to go out and buy, all these different features to potentially put on my rifle if we get a favorable hearing or a ruling tomorrow? Now, even if there was an actual hearing tomorrow, there's no way that we would have actually got an order or a judgment by Judge Benitez tomorrow. So that was kind of null and void if you heard that you need to go out and purchase stuff. It is always a good idea to try to go out and purchase things anticipating favorable decisions right now, especially because there's a whole lot of rush on buying just in general in our society right now. It's hard to find items in stock. So it's probably a good idea just in general to make sure you have what you potentially would want to configure your rifles in specific ways if we got favorable rulings. But there is not some sense of major urgency that you have to go out and purchase these items tonight because there's a hearing tomorrow. There is no hearing tomorrow. Judge Benitez is not hearing this case. They're simply going to look at their calendars and set an actual hearing date for him to hear the case. But this is good news because it means that this case, Miller v. Becerra, is finally out of its holding pattern. The virus, concerns and all that are finally over as far as this court is concerned, and they're going to set an actual hearing date. Now, when they actually set the hearing date, of course, I will let you guys know what that date is. because that is really going to mark the urgency for things like you needed to go out and potentially buy things, or just being aware of when a court decision might actually be heard. Now, like I mentioned, even though tomorrow they're going to set a hearing date, and they actually set that hearing date, let's say if it's December, sometime in December, just because the hearing date is set that date does not mean we will get a ruling that day or a judgment that day. It is likely going to be sometime down the road after that hearing date that we will get some sort of information or judgment from Judge Benitez about what we can and cannot do if he's ruling favorable in our favor. Now, I would expect that Judge Benitez would rule in our favor because we've already seen him be very pro Second Amendment in the Duncan v. Becerra case, as well as in the Rody v. Becerra case. And his decision was recently validated by the Ninth Circuit's 3-judge panel in Duncan v. Becerra. So I am very much anticipating that we will get some sort of favorable ruling here in Miller v. Becerra. And what form that will look like, I don't know. I can't speculate on that. No one really knows exactly what form this case will take. Also, one thing I want to note as far as tomorrow's status conference is they will be setting that hearing date, like I mentioned. And Judge Benitez, before all the virus stuff happened, he was very adamant in trying to push this case forward as soon as possible. He was very diligent in trying to get this thing heard. And so my expectation is that tomorrow he will do pretty much the same. He will be as vigilant in trying to set this case for as early as possible, because essentially there's been all the briefings already in this case. Everything has been established, and he was trying to have this case heard in March 19th, but unfortunately it got pushed back. So I would expect Judge Benitez to really push both parties to set this ASAP on their calendars. Now, of course, the AG's office is going to try to push this out as far as they can. They might try to state that they have some sort of conflicts on their calendar. So they will, of course, try to push this out as far as possible. But I would expect that Judge Benitez would be very vigilant in trying to get this calendared ASAP. So that's just a quick update on Miller v. Becerra. I know a lot of you are asking me about this. You're sending me DMs, you're sending me comments, you're sending me links, stuff like that. A lot of you were mistaken that tomorrow is the actual hearing. I just want to make it very clear once again that tomorrow Judge Benitez is not actually hearing this case. Instead, it's just a status conference. They're going to set the actual hearing date tomorrow. That is what we're looking for tomorrow, and we will get an update probably sometime tomorrow on the court docket on Court Listener when they actually are setting that hearing date. And so I will let you guys know that as well. But despite the fact that this case is not actually being heard tomorrow, it is still good news because, like I mentioned, this case is finally out of the holding pattern, and we can expect that Miller v. Becerra will at least be heard by Judge Benitez sometime soon. So if you like this video and you'd like to support the channel, one of the best ways to do that is join the Patreon page, and I'll go ahead and put a link down below to the Patreon page. Also, just like, commenting, subscribing, and make sure you hit that notification bell because that helps the channel analytics, helps us spread the word about the Second Amendment, as well as helps spread the word what we are dealing with here in California in regards to infringements on our Second Amendment rights. So as always, thanks guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And never forget, this nation was built by armed scholars, and this nation will be maintained by armed scholars.